David Drayton raises a gun to his own son's head. Billy is 8 years old. He's asleep in the front seat. The car is surrounded by an endless wall of white mist. The engine is dead, and there's nowhere left to drive. David counts the bullets. 4. But there are 5 people in the car. He's the one who doesn't get a bullet. To understand how a father gets to this moment, we go back to the beginning. And the beginning starts with a storm. A severe thunderstorm tears through Bridgeton, Maine, overnight. By morning, David Drayton steps outside to survey the damage. A tree from his neighbor's yard has punched straight through his boathouse. His young son Billy stands beside him, staring at the lake. Then Billy points. Out over the water, something strange is rolling in from the mountain. A thick, low wall of white mist moving toward them across the surface of the lake. David and his wife Stephanie watch it for a moment. They've never seen anything like it. But the damage needs dealing with, and they need supplies. Their neighbor, Brent Norton, needs a lift. His car got crushed by a fallen tree overnight. Brent is a lawyer, sharp and skeptical, not the type to panic. They take Billy with them. On the drive into town, they pass military vehicles heading the other way, moving fast. David notices. He doesn't stop. The supermarket is crowded. Half the town had the same idea after the storm. People load their trolleys, wait in line, and talk about the damage to their properties. Then the sirens start. Outside, police cars and military vehicles tear down the street. People press against the glass to look. That's when the doors fly open and Dan Miller staggers in, blood streaming from his face. He's shaking so badly he can barely speak. There's something in the mist, he manages. It took a man. People laugh. Someone mutters about the old man losing his mind. But then they look outside. The mist is right there. It's wrapped around the building. It's everywhere. And as they watch, a man who tried to reach his car is covered by the mist. Then it takes him, and the screaming stops. The store manager, Ollie Weeks, orders the doors sealed. Nobody's going out. Nobody's coming in. One woman, frantic about her young daughters at home alone, pushes past the fear and walks into the white. No one follows. She doesn't come back. Inside, 2 camps form immediately. Most people accept that something is wrong and stay put. But Brent Norton refuses to believe it. He's heard no screams, seen no creatures. In his view, this is hysteria, mass panic. The mist is probably a chemical leak from the military base up the road. And the rational thing to do is send for help. David tries to convince him not to, but he can't. Meanwhile, in the back of the store, the emergency generator starts acting up. Smoke pours through the loading dock. If it fails, they lose power completely. A young store assistant named Norm volunteers to go outside through the rear bay to clear the blocked vent. He's young, trying to prove something. David tries to warn him, "Don't open that door." Norm shakes him off. He cracks the door open. Something slams it the rest of the way. A tentacle the thickness of a man's thigh whips through the gap and wraps around Norm's leg. He screams. David and 2 others grab him and pull, but there's no competing with whatever is on the other side. Norm is dragged out the door and disappears into the mist. They manage to slam it shut and jam it with an axe handle, cutting off the tentacle in the process. It lies on the floor, still twitching. The witnesses are shaken. If you're enjoying the story so far, hit like and subscribe so you never miss a recap. David and Ollie describe the attack to the others, who refused to believe it because they hadn't seen it themselves. Brent still isn't convinced. He organizes a small group of skeptics and announces they're leaving to find help. David argues with him hard. Brent accuses him of using the tentacle as a prop to keep everyone afraid. The 2 men have a history of friction, and it's all coming out now. Before they go, one of the locals, a biker, volunteers to walk out to a truck in the parking lot to retrieve a shotgun. The group ties a rope around his waist so they can track how far he gets and pull him back if needed. He steps into the mist. The rope pays out slowly. Then it goes taut, jerks hard, pulls frantically, then goes completely slack. David hauls the rope back hand over hand. When the end emerges from the mist, there's no biker, just the lower half of his body, just boots and jeans and nothing above the waist. People are screaming. Children are shielded away. Brent Norton still leaves. He takes his small group into the mist, and they don't come back. Now the survivors get serious about defense. They shove shelving units against the storefront windows, stack bags of fertilizer and pet food, seal every gap they can find. The building becomes a fortress, a small, fragile one. In one corner of the store, Mrs. Carmody has found her audience. She's always been the town eccentric. the woman people cross the street to avoid. But right now, she has something valuable. Certainty. She knows exactly what this is. It's Armageddon. It's God's judgment. The day of reckoning has arrived, and the only question is whether you're standing on the right side of it. Most people ignore her, but fear has a way of making people look for answers, and she has answers. Amanda Dunfrey, a teacher who was shopping when the mist hit, has had enough. She steps up and tells Carmody to stop frightening the children. Things get heated. The tension between the rational and the terrified is starting to define everything inside these walls. As darkness falls, they turn on every light in the store. Someone figures that lights might keep things away. The logic makes sense. The result is catastrophic. Enormous insects begin slamming into the windows, not houseflies or moths. Things the size of your hand, with eyes that catch the light and bodies that leave smears on the glass when they hit. There are thousands of them, drawn to the brightness, clustering until the windows are black with them. Then something bigger notices the insects. Pterodactyl-like creatures sweep out of the mist, snatching insects off the glass. Enormous, fast. The sound of their wings against the storefront is like a storm hitting a tin roof. One of the windows gives way. Insects pour through the gap. Creatures follow. The store erupts. A young cashier named Sally is stung in the neck. She drops instantly, gone within seconds. One man grabs a mop, wraps the head in something flammable, and lights it. He's going to burn them. Instead, he catches on fire, and he staggers across the floor in flames, screaming. 2 more people don't survive the attack. Ollie Weeks, the quiet store manager who turns out to be a former regional shooting champion, saves Billy's life by putting a bullet through a pterodactyl-like creature. Carmody survives the whole thing without a scratch. One of the insects lands on her and then flies away as if she isn't worth touching. To the frightened survivors watching this, it looks like divine protection. Her following doubles overnight. By morning, they have a problem. One of the survivors is badly burned and needs medication that isn't in the supermarket. The pharmacy next door is just across a connecting corridor. It's close, maybe 30 feet. David decides to lead a team across. Amanda begs him not to go. He has a son. If he doesn't come back, Billy has no one. David goes anyway. Carmody calls it blasphemy. Irene Repler, an elderly teacher who has been one of the few voices of calm and reason throughout, responds by throwing a can of food at Carmody's head and telling her to be quiet. David, Dan, Irene, and 3 others head out towards the pharmacy. The pharmacy is quiet. Too quiet. Webbing covers everything, floor to ceiling, thick, ropey strands in every direction. And cocooned inside the webbing are bodies, including the store assistant Norm, who was dragged away earlier. They're not dead in a way that looks quick. Before anyone can move, spiders the size of dogs drop from the ceiling. They spray burning webbing. One man's leg is dissolved to the bone. Another is bitten, injected with something, and is gone in seconds. Dan reaches the exit and finds a spider blocking it. He drives a wooden stake through it and holds the door open. The survivors crash through and seal it behind them. While they manage to get some medicine, it was at a heavy loss. Carmody uses the failure like a weapon. She tells the crowd that God punished them for leaving. The pharmacy was a test, and they failed. More survivors drift toward her circle. The mechanic Jim, who'd been skeptical from the start, is now kneeling with her followers. Among the people trapped in the supermarket are 3 soldiers from Arrowhead, the military base nearby. By the second day, 2 of them are found dead in the storeroom. They ended their own lives. The guilt on their faces tells you enough. The 3rd soldier, a young man named Jessup, is dragged out by Carmody's followers and forced to answer for it. He breaks. The Arrowhead Project, he says. It was an attempt to peer into other dimensions, to see what was on the other side of reality. Something went wrong. A doorway opened, and whatever lived on the other side came through. The mist isn't a chemical leak. It isn't weather. It's what happens when you crack a door to somewhere that should have stayed closed. Carmody's followers don't want an explanation. They want a sacrifice. They drag Jessup to the front doors and push him out. A giant, praying mantis-like creature is waiting. It takes him apart in front of everyone. Carmody watches and nods. This is exactly how it's supposed to work. David looks at his son. Billy grabs his arm and asks him to promise. Promise that the monsters won't take him. David promises. By the 3rd morning, Carmody controls most of the store. Her followers are becoming frantic. They're no longer just frightened people praying. They're a mob looking for the next offering. David makes the decision. They're leaving. Him, Billy, Amanda, Ollie, Dan, Irene, and a couple of others. He doesn't announce it. He doesn't hold a meeting. He waits until the early hours and quietly gathers his people. They almost make it to the doors. Carmody is waiting. She's vibrating with it. This moment she's been building toward. She tells the crowd that Billy has been chosen, that God requires the boy. Her followers close in with knives and tools. Amanda grabs Billy. David stands between them and the mob. Ollie steps forward and shoots Carmody twice. She falls. The silence that follows is absolute. Her followers stand there blinking as if they've just woken up. One by one, they step back and let David's group through. The parking lot is wrapped in mist so thick they can barely see their hands. David leads them at a run toward his SUV. They stay close together, calling out to each other. The praying mantis emerges from the white. It takes Ollie, just like that. The man who saved Billy twice, who made every right call, who shot Carmody to free them all, is gone. Two others, Myron and Ambrose, are pulled down by the spider-like creatures before they reach the car. Bud, the store manager, turns and sprints back to the supermarket doors. He makes it inside. David gets Billy, Amanda, Dan, and Irene into the car. He hits the accelerator. He doesn't head south immediately. He goes to his house first. His wife, Stephanie, is cocooned in webbing, dead. The spiders found her sometime during the first night. Devastated by what he has seen, he decides to drive them all away from the town. They all drive in silence through a town that isn't there anymore. Buildings torn apart, cars abandoned mid-road. And through the mist, things are moving that defy any ordinary scale. At one point, crossing a highway overpass, something walks past them through the mist. 6 legs, each one taller than a house. The creature's body is lost somewhere in the clouds above. It's like watching a moving mountain. None of them says anything. There's nothing to say. David keeps driving south, looking for the edge of the mist. There is no edge. The car runs out of fuel on a rural stretch of road. The engine coughs and dies. The mist presses in around them. Somewhere out in the white, things are moving. 5 people, 4 bullets. They sit in the car for a long time without speaking. There's no rescue coming. The army hasn't appeared. There's no way to outrun the mist on foot. There is 1 gun, 4 bullets, and 5 people who are afraid of what the creatures will do if they're still alive when they arrive. David proposes it. He'll be the one to do it. He'll use all 4 bullets and then take his chances outside. Nobody argues with him. He shoots Amanda. He shoots Dan. He shoots Irene. Then he looks at Billy, who is asleep. He shoots his son. He gets out of the car. He stands in the mist and he screams. He spreads his arms. He waits. The mist begins to thin. Headlights appear in the shape of a tank. Then the rumble of engines, the grinding of treads, the sound of organized human force. A U.S. Army armored column rolls out of the dissipating mist. Flamethrowers work through the webbing. Soldiers sweep the area. And in the back of one of the transport trucks, sitting wrapped in a blanket, is the woman who walked into the mist alone at the beginning, the one who left to get home to her children. She made it. She's alive. They were minutes away. Just minutes. David looks at the car and at the windows, now with the true realization of what he's done. He drops to his knees in the road. The army moves around him. The mist continues to clear. The world, it turns out, was still there all along. And David Drayton kneels in the middle of it, with 4 bullets spent and nothing left. The ending is a study in tragic irony. David acts out of love. He can't watch his son be torn apart by creatures, so he makes the most devastating choice a parent can make. And it's the wrong call by minutes. The army was already on its way. The mist was already clearing. Had they sat in that car just a little longer, everyone would have lived. The horror of the film isn't the creatures, it's that decision and what it costs him. The Mist is based on Stephen King's 1980 novella of the same name. Director Frank Darabont, who previously adapted King's The Shawshank Redemption and The Green Mile, made one crucial change to the source material. The original novella ends with the survivor still driving, the outcome left ambiguous. If you enjoyed this recap, hit the like button and subscribe for more regular horror recaps. Thanks for watching.